Did you know that comfort is one of the most dangerous, one of the most deadly and costly things that we can allow to rule our lives? If you haven't heard the quote, comfort holds more prisoners than all the prisons combined, then let this be the first time you hear it. And there's obviously a clear reason why that quote is as popular as it is. But maybe it's not as obvious. Because maybe if it was as obvious as it should be, more people would be seeking to get uncomfortable on purpose. More people will be traveling down that road of growth to actually tap into the potential that they have inside of them. Or maybe that most of us actually know, we understand how dangerous comfort is. But comfort is just so enticing. It's just so convincing. It just feels so good compared to the uncomfortability. So we choose comfort anyways. Perhaps there's actually another force along with the comfort that makes it that much harder to not fall into it. What if there's spiritual warfare going on at all times, every moment that we're awake? As long as time is ticking, there's spiritual warfare. What if that's the case? What if in this spiritual warfare, there's an enemy? What if that very enemy is seeking to get you to become comfortable? What if that enemy doesn't actually always attack in your face? It doesn't always cause actual immediate damage. They don't overly obviously sabotage you. What if that's not the case? What if their main goal, or at least one of them, is to get you to stay in your comfort zone? What if the enemy understands that if they can get you to stay in your comfort zone, then you're not going to be a threat? Then at that point, they can take their resources elsewhere and up the ante, heavily attack, assault the person that decided to break the comfort loop and tap into some discomfort. Not for the sake of just getting uncomfortable because they're a masochist, but for the sake of understanding that everything worth having is on the other side of discomfort. What if comfort is a weapon? What if it's not as harmless as we believe it is? You know, God has something stored inside of you, inside of me, inside of them. He has something stored inside of all of us that is beyond imagination. Especially with the kind of mindset that we have now. Especially with our level of knowledge and understanding and discerning. He has something stored in you that can't be tapped through comfort. Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought that maybe the time that you spend suffering, especially self-imposed suffering, maybe the times that you put yourself in those uncomfortable situations, or maybe when you face that obstacle that actually, if we look at it on the surface, it looks impossible to overcome. What if in those moments, those are actually the moments we discover what's inside? You know, there's a verse in Proverbs, I believe it's in chapter 25, I should have done a little more studying on this, but it's just something that I thought of as I was thinking about this before recording. You know, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing. And it is, I'm going to butcher this, the pleasure, we're going to go with that. It is the pleasure of a king to search out a matter. Although that is paraphrased and butchered, the point still stands. Do you think that God might have put things in you that if you actually searched for, that he would actually reveal them? What if the way of searching is facing the uncomfortable situations? What if the way of discovering was putting yourself in those situations where you suffer? What if that's actually the key? And the enemy understands that this is the key, so for as long as I can keep their attention, for as long as I can entice them with comfortability, the easier it is for them to not tap into the level of potential that I realize they have, but they don't realize they have. If I can keep them distracted and comfortable, then that means that's less of a threat for me down the line. So can I sabotage them for long enough to where they'll never figure out what's inside, the power that they have that will make hell tremble? Kind of changes some things when you actually think about it like that. It's like comfort is actually very powerful. It ties right along into distraction. Those are some of the two most powerful weapons that the enemy uses to get in our way. So now that the truth has been revealed, the question is, what do we do with this information? Of course, things aren't going to just change overnight. But can we make just one small change? Can we just make one decision? And I don't mean a choice. I mean a decision. A decision means that you cut off any other possibilities aside from the thing that you decided upon. So what's one decision that we can make starting now, starting as soon as possible, that'll make the biggest difference in the long run? Anyways, if you got it this far in this video, I greatly appreciate you. It means a lot. It means a lot. And it encourages me to keep doing this. Lets me know that I'm doing something right, So if you feel like it, do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next time, I'll see you in the next video. Adios for now.